Overnight, Israel and Iran exchanged some of the most significant fire since the April 8th ceasefire agreement. It was a day-long tit-for-tat that began with a Hezbollah attack on northern Israel and ended with Israeli strikes on Tehran and other military sites. Both Israel and Iran say they have now halted military operations, but the weekend flare-up caused oil prices to fluctuate. The tensions in the region also further strain an already fragile ceasefire. Earlier today, the president told both sides to, quote, stop shooting. The relationship between President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, once in lockstep at the start of the war, now appears to be fraying. A White House official confirms the two leaders spoke on the phone this morning, but did not provide any further details. CBS News senior national security correspondent Charlie D'Agata begins our coverage now from Tel Aviv. And Charlie, what's the current state of this ceasefire? Is it in jeopardy?
Well, Nicole, you just set the stage. That's exactly where we are right now. So maybe 12 hours ago, we woke up to air raid sirens and messages to seek shelter. That's the first time that's happened here in Tel Aviv since April. And that means that Iran had launched attacks here in Israel, largely concentrated to the northern part of Israel, but also here in Tel Aviv. That this war was back on again. And Iran said that they had fired somewhere around 24 ballistic missiles toward Israel. We know about Israel's vaunted air defense systems, intercepted pretty much all of them. A couple of them landed in the desert, but nobody was harmed in that attack. But then Israel retaliated, kind of against President Trump's orders to say, look, Israel attacked Hezbollah inside Beirut. Iran responded. Let's just call it a tie right now. Israel then retaliated. And now we're kind of in a whole pattern. We're kind of in a wait and see. But for the people of Israel here, they canceled school for kids. People weren't going to work. It felt like it was a resumption of hostilities. But as I said, we've been looking at the past 12, 14, 16 hours where we haven't seen the kind of incoming that we had expected. I mean, I hadn't heard that for a while, certainly since April. So we are in a hold. So to say the ceasefire, certainly it's fragile because there are multiple ceasefires going on here. The U.S. and Iran, that seems to be holding because the U.S. and Iran have traded fire. The U.S. and Israel and Iran have traded fire. Israel and Hezbollah have traded fire. But right now, we kind of press pause on where we are right now. So fragile, but not destroyed.
What more do we know about the conversations that have been happening between President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu? And overall, where does the state of their relationship stand?
It's a tough question to answer because we know that President Trump has gone publicly to say, first of all, he instructed or at least warned or urged Prime Minister Netanyahu not to attack Hezbollah positions in Beirut. And that's really important. We went to the northern border with Lebanon because we've seen not just flare-ups, we've actually seen fighting. And yesterday, what we saw in the past 24 hours was Israel actually attacked those southern parts of Beirut, which was a red line. And that is exactly what triggered Iran to launch these attacks on Israel. And Iran said right from the beginning, if that happens, if Israel attacks those areas in Beirut, specifically those areas in southern Beirut, then all bets were off. We are not going to continue negotiations with the United States over any kind of extended ceasefire, let alone a peace agreement. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what we saw in the past 24 hours. Iran responded by firing ballistic missiles into Israel. The U.S. military, I've spoken to U.S. military officials, they said they did engage. They did engage in helping to defend Israel from these ballistic missile attacks, but they haven't attacked Iran in response. So that relationship, it looks a little bit strained because On paper, it looks like Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu defied President Trump in doing exactly what he tried to tell him not to do, which was attack Hezbollah in Beirut. Iran has, counterattacked, but we are still at this pause. So there seems to be some sway between the Israelis and Iran and the U.S. that we may see a sort of glimmer of hope, a silver lining that at least, I'm not running for shelter right now. We're in a position where there might be a window for negotiations here because both sides or all three sides are holding fire.
All right, Charlie D'Agata, thank you so much, and continue to stay safe. Former CIA Deputy Assistant Director Joe Zacks joins me now. He's also a CBS News national security contributor. And I want to pick up where Charlie left off with some other additional reporting from other outlets, including Axios, which is reporting that the president actually warned Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that he could find himself fighting alone if Israel continues to escalate attacks against Iran. He also told the Financial Times that he calls the shots and not Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. So what do you make of their relationship?
I think it's a strong relationship overall, but this is a complex situation, and allies act in concert, as the U.S. and Israel have done, but also allies act in their own national interests. And in this case, I think Israel's trying to manage what they see as a very serious and decades-long threat from Hezbollah, and the president is trying to manage negotiations to bring an end to this conflict with Iran. So,
are they on different pages here, though?
I think that to a certain extent, with respect to Lebanon, there's a possibility that they are on different pages. But I think that what is probably not helpful is how much airtime this is getting in terms of being aired publicly. And I think this emboldens both Hezbollah and Iran because they see a potential schism. They may not understand that this is part of a probably healthy debate between allies who have invested a tremendous amount in this operation, but have different perspectives. But the way that this is, being either leaked or intentionally relayed to the public, I think confuses Iran and Hezbollah, and maybe causing them to feel emboldened in a way that they actually are misreading the situation.
Yeah, I was going to say, does it complicate matters?
I think it complicates matters. I think it absolutely complicates matters. And I think that some of this action, beginning last week when the president said that there's an agreement for an immediate ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah, Israel and Lebanon. Israel said yes. The Lebanese government said yes, but Hezbollah rejected it. And so that started this spiral escalation that resulted in this weekend's activities.
And so what do you see as the path forward to try to get these talks back on track?
So I think there are a number of things. First of all, I believe that what we're seeing here is that we cannot completely diminish the importance of proxies to ultimate negotiations. I think the president has made very clear that his red lines to get the talks back on track are an agreement on opening up the Strait of Hormuz, that it be open and unrestricted by Iran. And secondly, that there be a commitment to an expedited resolution of the nuclear file. First of all, I think the Iranians need to commit to that. And I'm very happy to see that the president, despite his repeated assurances that an agreement is imminent, actually, despite that, is stepping back and taking his time and making sure that he feels comfortable that whatever agreement is ultimately arrived at is one that represents U.S. interests well. And apparently, he hasn't seen that from the Iranians yet. This recent flare-up shows also that while the nuclear file is of predominant importance, ballistic missiles and proxies are also key to hoping that there will be any long-term settlement to the conflict, not only between Israel and Iran, but between Iran and the United States, and keeping our Gulf partners safe as well. So I think negotiations will continue. It's going to take time. I don't see that a solution is as imminent as perhaps is being publicly messaged. And unfortunately, it seems to me that the Iranian regime still feels emboldened and that they have some strategic sway in this matter. And it'll be important to convince them otherwise.
All right. Well, Joe Zacks, we know you're going to continue to follow this. So thank you so much for being here and for your analysis.
Thank you.